Let's start with the summary of story Indigo by Louis Fisher. The author recounts his first visit to Gandhi's ashram in Sevagram in 1942. Gandhi offered to explain how he had decided to ask the British to leave India. In 1916, Gandhi had attended the annual session of the Indian National Congress in Lucknow. There, a peasant named Rajkumar Shukla from the district of Champaran approached Gandhi. Let's see their conversation.
Gandhi ji, I am a peasant from a district in Champaran. I came here in the hope that you will help me.
How do you need my help?
I want you to accompany me to my district. I had come to the meeting to complain about the oppressive landlords in Bihar.
I will help you, but first I have to travel to other parts of India. You can accompany me if you want to.
The peasant accompanied Gandhi everywhere, and finally when Gandhi returned to his ashram, Shukla followed him. Impressed by Shukla's resolves and his story, Gandhi told him that he would visit Calcutta in a few months and asked Shukla to meet him there.
So here you are.
Oh, I am so glad that you came to help me.
Haha. We will leave for Patna once I am done with some work here.
Okay, I will take you to the house of Rajendra Prasad.
Time passed by and Gandhi was taken to the house of Rajendra Prasad. The servants recognized Shukla as a regular visitor and allowed Gandhi to sit on the floor, but did not permit Gandhi to draw water from the well in the fear that he was an untouchable. Gandhi then went to Muzaffarpur to get some more information and stayed at the house of Professor Malkani, a teacher in a government school. Gandhi noted that it was rare for a government employee to help them, as most Indians in small towns were apprehensive about supporting anti-British agitators. As news of Gandhi's arrival spread, peasants from all over Champaran started to collect in Muzaffarpur. Even lawyers who had represented peasant groups came to meet Gandhi. After seeing the amount of legal fees charged, Gandhi was appalled. He declared that legal proceedings were not as useful as freeing the peasants from the fear of landlord. In Champaran, most of the land was owned by British who rented it out to peasants under long-term contracts. The peasants were required to grow indigo on 15% of the land and hand over the indigo crop as rent. However, when synthetic indigo was developed in Germany, natural indigo was of little use to the landlords. The landlords offered to free their tenant farmers from the contractual obligation to grow indigo if they agreed to pay the landlords compensation. Many peasants, who did not want to grow indigo, quickly signed the agreements. Others refused to pay compensation, upon which, the landlords resorted thuggery. However, when the peasants finally learned of synthetic indigo, they realized that they had been cheated and wanted their money back. Gandhi arrived at Champaran at this junction. He visited both the British Landlords Association as well as the British Official Commissioner to gather information. But they declined to help. And Gandhi went to Motihari, the capital of Champaran, accompanied by many lawyers. He continued his investigations but was soon served a notice to leave the district immediately. But Gandhi declined to obey the order and was summoned to court the next day. The next morning, Motihari was covered with peasants who had heard that a Mahatma who had come to help them was in trouble. Gandhi helped the officials control the crowd around the courthouse, thus providing the officials with proof that their authority would no longer go unquestioned. Local authorities, confused by the support for Gandhi, decided to consult their superiors and requested the judge to postpone the trial. Gandhi protested this move, admitting that he did this over the order. He declared that he was there for a humanitarian purpose, and thus could not leave. He demanded to be punished for disobeying the order to leave. The judge eventually postponed the judgment for a few days, allowing Gandhi to remain free without bail. Gandhi's lawyer friends conferred together and concluded that it would be shameful if they, the locals, left Gandhi at this moment. They assured Gandhi that they too were ready to go to jail with him. By seeing the unity among the locals, Gandhi said that the Battle of Champaran was won. A few days later, Gandhi received a letter which said that the court case has been dropped. This was the first victory for civil disobedience movement in India. Gandhi and the lawyers then collected evidence and documents from about 10,000 peasants, before he met the lieutenant governor of the province, who finally agreed to set up an enquiry commission. Gandhi was the sole representative of the peasants in the commission. Confronted by the evidence provided by the official enquiry, the planters decided in principles to make refunds to the peasants. Gandhi agreed on 25% refund, explaining that even this would help the peasant realize his rights and his powers. This came true, as in a few years the British planters left, leaving the land to the peasants. Gandhiji thus dedicated almost a year to secure justice for the farmers of Champaran. But he did not stop there. He also strove hard to improve the social, cultural and health conditions of the district. The Champaran agitation had begun as an effort to help poor peasants. It was important because it demonstrated the power of civil disobedience. In addition, all his actions were focused on ensuring that Indians would make themselves self-reliant rather than depend on others.